boxer's code. And we're not even in a military era. So speak to the facts that how do we ensure that as much as you're a practicing journalist and you want to go after the story, your safety remains paramount?
Mm-hmm. See, every profession has its hazards. If you decide to be a journalist, you must understand that that profession has its hazards. If you decide to be a soldier, you must know that you may be sent to the war front and you may not return. You may be a doctor, you know that you have to go to the hospital. Adadevo was a doctor, that woman.
Right.
And treating a patient, she died. From Ebola. So as a doctor too, you have the hazards. You are a pilot or air hostess. You know that planes can crash and you go in everything. So every profession has its hazard. Journalism has its own hazards. So when we come to journalism, when you decide to be a journalist, you know that the hazards include that you can be arrested, you can be detained, you can die, you can be sent to cover assignments that you never return. A friend of mine, Chris Imodibe, of The Guardian, was sent to cover the Liberian War with a Tayo Retuse of Champion. And Charles Taylor killed them there. They died there. That's hazard, one of the hazards of the profession. So the profession has its hazards. Having said that, we should not condone that government or government agencies will victimize journalists simply because they don't want the truth to be known. They don't want the truth to be published. That one, what we can do is always to fight them, to come to bind up together, have this union, and then have the other sister unions, Guild of Editors, Newspaper Operators Association of Nigeria, and other people like that, to come together and always insist that the right thing is done. Okay. Fortunately, we have also had a lot of helping hands in this regard from the Nigerian Bar Association, from civil society. So we need to, because we should understand that the freedom that journalists exercise is not for them alone, it's for the society. So when we are trying to protect press freedom, it is not for pressmen alone, it's for everybody, society. All of us, yes.
Right. The NUJ itself as a body, how can the NUJ also promote credible journalism and continue to ensure that the media remains a pillar of democracy in Nigeria?
Yeah, you see, there are two things I think the NUJ should stop doing, or they should tell their members to stop doing. You can't be a watchdog. You are watching somebody and you are giving the person an award. All this award that we give, Governor of the Year, who told you he's Governor of the Year? Bank of the Year, who told you he's Bank of the Year? Then they will come together simply because you want to generate money, you want to generate fund, and the newspaper houses, the television houses will begin to give a Governor of the Year award, and then now they have made it so, they have made it in such a way that they have a Legislator of the Year, they have Councillor of the Year, they have Chairman of the Year, just to bring so many people. I think we should stop that. I think if we have an ombudsman, that's one of the things they should do. They should impress it on journalists that you are not, it's not professional that you have an award. They will woman of the year. You have those ones covering sport. They will go and give awards to the Swan. You have Swan. You have the one covering energy. When I was editor, I stopped them. What kind of nonsense is that? I didn't send you to financial
correspondent.
You are going to give your award to Central Bank Governor. I said, where? What for I sent you to go and watch him and write stories that will sell my paper, and you are telling me you want to give award. They should stop that.
Okay.
See, that thing that they are doing is lowering the credibility of the papers, and it is not. I don't think it is the right thing to do. The other thing they should do, they should stop, is Guild of Editors want to hold their. I've never attended because of something like that. You want to hold your annual meeting. And there is a governor is sponsoring you. So tomorrow, how are you going
if the governor
to?
does anything wrong,
Yes,
then
are you going to hold him accountable? Those kind of things are not good for the professional image of journalists. Whether they are NUJ, whether they are guild of editors, whatever they call themselves, they should stop those two practices. It's corruption. It's absolute corruption, and it is not good.
All right. Before we end this conversation today, we also know that this is an era of misinformation, and you talked about that earlier on. As a body, what should the NUJ also be doing here to ensure that at least this is nipped in the bud? Of course, they are not lawmakers. They may not be able to create laws, but I'm sure that they also should be able to lobby those at the National Assembly to create, many people have been congratulating the NUJ. At 70, we have the Speaker Abbas, we have the Minister for Information, we have so many state governors. So what should NUJ be taken from these politicians or political office holders, at least if, like you said, they cannot approach them for certain things, but what should they use their power or their energy for?
They should tell them to obey the law. They should tell them to do the right things. We have Freedom of Information Act. How many of them are obeying it? You write to them to ask them to release information on this or on that. They will refuse. In fact, the first person that went against it was there in Lagos, our former governor, then Fashola, who went to court and said that the thing has to challenge it. Why? Release information. Why are you afraid to release information? All those people who are saying that they are correlating the NUJ, let them obey the Freedom of Information Act. Let them always release information. Because when you say that we're misquoted, when you say it is misinformation, did you release the right information? If you release the right information, there will be no need for disinformation or misinformation. But when you hold information, when you are asked to release information, refuse to release it, people will have to get it. And then you will come and say that it is classified document. You come and say that the information is not correct. Where is the correct information? Let us have the correct information. So I think what they are doing is just the typical Nigerian way of doing things. When somebody is dead, they say all sorts of good things about that person. But when the person, but everybody knows that it is not true. So all those who are congratulating the NUJ, we know that they are not friends of the NUJ. We know that they are just saying that because that is the right thing to say at this point in time. But for them, actually, to key into the fact that, number one, that the media is indispensable. A former American president said, if you were to choose between government without media and media without government, he said he will choose media without government to tell you how important the media is. Until we get to that level in Nigeria, where they see the media as indispensable, where they see that the media is fighting not only for itself, but for they themselves. And you understand that it is when they leave government that they come to appreciate the media more. Many of those people that are the ones that will castigate the media when they are in power, when they are out of power, and they are now on the other side and they are suffering injustice, they will run to the same media.
To use the media.
To use the media. So they should understand that the important thing for them to do now is not to congratulate NUJ alone, but to dedicate themselves to the fact that a free society needs a free media.
A free media. All right, we'll have to leave this conversation here this morning. Thank you so much, Mr. Bolawole, for finding time to be with us on the program.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Okay, we've been discussing about NUJ at 70, reflecting on the past and shaping the future. And of course, Mr. Bolawole has lent his voice to some of the things that he also feels that the NUJ should stop doing and, of course, take up for a better society that really needs the media at all times. We'll take a quick break. When the conversation returns, it will be the turn of Adebimpe and Joy to take you through their Lagos conversation.